So for this project, you're gonna need yarn and a hook. I'm using the 4-ply big twist value yarn and a 5mm hook. So to go ahead and get started, you're gonna take your book and you're going to chain for the length of your book plus about 2 inches. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your string and you're going to form a slip stitch and connect it to your hook. Like that. You're gonna go ahead and chain the entire length of your book. You want to make sure whenever you're measuring your length of change that you're not stretching them out. So we've reached the length of our book. Because we're making one solid piece that we're going to stitch together to form the book cover, we're going to want to make sure that we go above the length of our book. That way we have some seams to work with. Once you've gotten the length of your chains, you're going to want to block off this chain by holding it down and chain 2 for our turning chain. Then you're going to skip 2 chains from the beginning and crochet into that 3rd chain. Yarn over, pull through, and you should have 2 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over again and pull through both loops to form our turning chain. Then you're going to work into your next chain and you're going to single crochet over the entire row. This is what it looks like after an entire row has been completed. The bigger the hook you use, the larger that these small holes will be and the easier it will be to work into. I recommend for larger books to use a bigger hook and a smaller thread. You will be able to see the book through the cover, but I think it'll look nice. You're gonna turn your work and continue to work all the way down the row in single crochets. You're going to work until you get from here all the way up, but not past it. So as you can see, we've crocheted almost all the way up to the bottom of the book at this point. And so you're going to finish your rows. There should be like 2 or 3 more. And whenever you're done, make sure you stop like this at the end. Don't tie it off, don't fasten it off, or cut your thing, because we're going to start with 3 treble stitches and you're going to do 1 row of that. Okay, so we're approaching the end of the row. So you're going to you're going to single crochet and single crochet right into the last loop. You're going to chain 1 and turn your work. And you're going to get ready to do your 3 crochet treble stitches. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your book and you're going to turn it on its side. And this is going to be different for everyone depending on how thick your book is. So for me, it's going to take 2 rows of triple crochet treble stitches. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to yarn over twice, go into that next hole, push through, pull, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 again. Then we're going to do the same thing all the way down the line. So as we're getting to the end of the row, you're going to continue with your treble stitches until you get to the very end. So we're going to go ahead and finish that up. So for the last stitch, what you're going to do is you're going to finish just like normal. But this time, instead of chaining 1, you're going to chain 3. These stitches, as you'll immediately be able to tell from touching it, they're softer and they're more flexible. Make sure that however many rows you do of your triple treble stitches covers the entire spine. So I'm going to go ahead and do 1 more row. So to turn this, after you've chained 3, you're going to yarn over twice like usual, and you're going to go into this stitch right here, yarn over, pull through, just like you did last row. It's going to create the 2, And then you're going to instantly go into this one right here, and you're basically going to create the columns to continue the stitches. So I've gone ahead and finished my second row of triple crochet treble stitches, and as you can see, it's the perfect width for the spine of my book. So we're going to go ahead and basically work from the bottom of the spine up until this way, or the same amount of stitches we have here. And again, you're not going to want to go over because we're going to crochet a triangle to create the clasp that closes the book cover together. So one more time, what you're going to do is you're going to go into this next, you're going to chain one, go into this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both of those to form a single crochet, and you're going to do that all the way down the row, and then you're going to continue building up rows until you've reached the length of the book again. Hey everyone, it's a new day, and we're going to go ahead and finish up this row before we work on stitching all the seams together. As we're approaching the end, you're going to get ready to fasten off and weave in this end. So there's two ways you can do this. You can use your crochet hook, or you can use a yarn needle. I'll show you how to do both. So whenever you get to your last stitch, you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through like you would a regular single crochet. You should have one loop on your hook. Take your scissors and cut a few inches away, just like this. So here I have 2 yarn needles. You're going to want to be careful with these because they can poke you. I'll show you how to use these first. So what you're going to want to do is take what's left of the yarn on your hook, yarn over, and pull through like you're crocheting a chain. This time, however, you're going to pull until it comes all the way through that loop. Then you're going to grab the piece of yarn with your fingers and pull as you push like that. This is going to create a knot and secure the yarn in place. Then you'll take your yarn needle and put the yarn into the needle hole. Once it's done, you'll pull back, and like you're sewing regularly, you'll go into each stitch like this, pull the yarn all the way through. Be careful not to ruin the shape of your work. So you're going to want to do this all the way until you've reached the very end. And once you reach the very end, you're going to leave it in and go like this to make it look natural. So to use your crochet hook, if you don't have a yarn needle, what you're going to do is you're going to take your hook and insert it into this hole and up through this one, like you're doing a post stitch. Yarn over and pull through 2, being very carefully not to split your yarn. And you're going to flip your work upside down and do the opposite. When you reach the end, like I said before, you'll notice that there's a small piece sticking out. A good way to get rid of this or help reduce it is to just gently tug. It'll be onto the inside, but this is the side that the book is going to be, so it won't be noticeable. And as you can see, I've completely finished the main part of the envelope. This right here is for the spine of the book, and this is for the back, and this is for the front. It's okay if the front is slightly shorter than the back, but try to make sure that the back is never shorter than the front. So what you'll do is you'll fold this over along the seam right here. And if you have 3, then you'll use this seam right here, the one in the middle, as your middle point. Just make sure it's in the middle of the spine stitches. Fold it over. And what color you're going to want to use to this is up to you. I'm going to use white so the seams aren't noticeable. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get ready to sew the sides of the envelope. As I've mentioned before, the seam, you can go ahead and move this book. The seam right here is at the bottom. And whatever side you want to be the outside should be in the inside. So you're going to basically sew it and then flip it inside out. So because I have my stitch pieces here and here, I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. Once again, taking care to find the middle stitch and placing it at the bottom. Then I'm going to take the same hook as before and whatever yarn you'd like to use. Create a slip stitch and attach it again to your hook. Then you're going to start up here. You have this piece right here, you're going to leave that, and right here there's going to be a hole. You're going to slip your needle in there and try and find it on the other side and slip it in there as well. And what you're going to do is you're basically going to crochet through your work. So you're going to yarn over, pull through both. You should have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over again, and then pull through both loops. And you're going to continue this process through each of the holes along the work. So as we're approaching the end, it's important to note that both of these sides aren't the same length. So whenever you end it, you're going to want to be careful that you don't force them to be and then create bumpy texture in your work. So as we're approaching the end, you're going to take your hook, insert in the last hole, like so, yarn over, pull through, wrap around just like this. And how we did with the ends whenever we finished our work originally, you're going to yarn over one more time and pull through. This time, however, cutting a few inches away from the hook, yarning over one more time and pulling through all the way. Then you're going to tighten as you push to create a knot to fasten your work in place. Then we're going to go ahead and flip our work around and replicate the same thing for the other side. This time, however, you're not going to be able to work in the same way if you're right-handed, and if you're left-handed, you'll have the same problem when you flip. So go ahead and flip your work over all the way, and do the same thing, working from here to here. And you should be left with something like this. You see, there will be 4 little strands. You can choose to sew these in like I showed you, or you can leave them. I'm going to sew these ones in, but leave these because the book will be covering these up, because these are near the bottom where the spine of the book will be. So I'm going to sew this in along the seam itself because it's the easiest place to hide it. And if the seam comes undone over time and over use, it will be hidden near the book rather than by the top. And I'll just cut right here. Then you're going to take your work and flip it inside out, grabbing the corners and pulling them through the top. So here you should have a little bag.